Today is the day podcast. What is happening with me, Danny Malloy, and Jack Gray? Today's guest is one of our mates, Cameron. Cameron lives with me in Liverpool and recently set up a dropshipping store that is profitable. And from speaking with me, he plans to scale this up. Today, we brought him on the podcast to hear his story, experiences, and also what motivates him to go against the norm and set up an online business. Cameron, how are we?
Good morning, lads. Doing well so far today. You know what I mean?
You
How's
feeling a bit?
keeping?
Are you feeling a bit nervous?
I'm a bit nervous, obviously. Yeah, first time doing something like this, so kind
Yeah,
of
it's gonna be
get the
tight.
first time over me and get used to it.
I'm sure you watched me and Danny's first podcast together. Like, what?
Oh, I did,
Let's
I
just
did,
say we,
lads.
we, we weren't the best podcast hosts. Like,
No, but I tell you what, boys, you've come a long way since that. To be fair, I've watched them all recently, and they've all been better, obviously, than the first one. So it's obviously it's just getting used to it. Then
practice makes perfect.
it does.
100%. Cameron, the first thing I want to ask you, right? So basically, with our podcast, we kind of focus on trying to be successful in like today's age, online and things like that. As a young person, so Cameron, the first question I'd probably ask you would be, what does success actually mean to you?
Um, it's a difficult one to say, isn't it? Like, because success, it changes every time. You might have like these milestones that you want to reach, and then you might say you're successful after that. And say you reach a certain like milestone that you've set, like making your first sale, right? Say you've done that there, it's like there's always something next, and then you're not fully successful. I don't think you're ever fully successful until I don't even know what point you would even classify yourself as of like you've been successful. It's just these
Yeah,
small wins, do you know what I mean? That reward you and they give you that uh kind of like a boost to keep going. Do you know what I mean? It's
Uh,
just what
it,
you're happy with. When you're happy with yourself, that's you being successful, I would say.
it gives you like a sense of accomplishment every time you've hit that wee small milestone
Yeah,
or whatever.
definitely.
Yeah, I get you, 100%.
Definitely, lad.
well, I see with like the way you described it there with in terms of success, do you reckon you'll never be like fully satisfied with
No,
like,
go ahead.
go ahead.
No,
No,
you
go
go
ahead.
ahead,
That
go
was,
ahead.
so do you reckon you'll never be like completely satisfied, or what do you mean when you kind of talk about like, once you like reach that level of success, there's always going to be something next, in that way?
No, don't get me wrong. Obviously, like I do think that there are certain key factors that I wouldn't classify as success, but more you're content with, you're happy with, like that's you. Like anything after that is a plus. Do you know what I mean? So like I would say being able to like say quit your 9 to 5 job, not have to work underneath someone else, not having to work for against the clock. Like I feel like having your own thing going where you've got your own free time, you're not waiting monthly to make ends meet. Do you know that way? So you're not stressing out about, oh, where's my next pay coming from? I feel like that's a key thing. Especially for me right now, whenever because I work obviously part time as well as being a student. So it's very stressful, obviously trying to get everything in on time. If it's assignments, then you've got work, so you can't do your assignments. And just that there, being able just to even cut off work and being able to focus on uni just as a whole, not have to worry about the finance side of it, it would just be so much easier. And I feel like that would be one of the main goals for me right now. And that's what I would determine as me being that wee bit more successful. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like so going off what you just said there, kind of what we talk about in this podcast massively is like achieving a sense of like financial freedom and both location freedom. So you're not tied down to one job, you're not tied down to one location. Is that kind of what you strive for?
Yeah, I would say that's my main goal. Being able to
Go.
just not have to worry or be somewhere like not having to be at a certain place at a certain time for someone else. Being able to be where I want to be whenever I want to be there. Do you get me?
Yeah, yeah. So they're kind of going off both that financial freedom and that location freedom. When do you reckon? Obviously, it's very hard to dictate and hard to work out. But when do you reckon you'll be able to say that you've made it?
I would say right now, for me to say that I've made it is definitely dropping that job, that part-time job. I will go on to say that I've made it. Then after that, probably once I'm earning upwards of more than the average salary a year.
So
Do
would
you
you
know what I mean?
say?
Even maybe a month even.
So would you say once you've established a good income by yourself and not having to work for someone else, kind of thing?
Yeah, no, definitely. That's what it would be,
Yeah, 100%.
like not having to work for
I,
someone else.
I'd 100% agree. I'd be on the same path as that. So once I start making my own bit of money, I feel the exact same. So
What was I gonna say there? So obviously, Danny, me and you have taken a step together at trying to get this shop going more, trying to scale it up a wee bit. And
Yeah,
I would just like to add that the best way I feel like that we've obviously you have to make mistakes to learn. You have to fail to learn. You can't just straight run it. You can't just get it all first time. But the best way I believe that there's two different types of learners in the world. There's practical and there's like theoretical. You know, people that like learn and then they apply. Whereas we've kind of went, fuck it, we'll just apply first. We'll just go for it, try it out. We threw money in the ads. It's getting the views, but it's not getting the traffic to the website. So we've
what
obviously then thought,
what
what is it,
exactly
Jack?
is the store you two have decided to come together with? Like, what actually is it?
So we found this product. I'm actually wearing it right now, you know, because it's
Oh,
cold this morning, so I decided I'd stick it on me. It's like a blanket hoodie, but we've nicknamed it the blankie. So on our store, obviously there's different variations, different sizes, but yeah, it's just something. Even like if you think about it, it's seasonal.
yeah,
So if coming into like Christmas or winter, like it does be cold in the mornings, and sometimes that's what makes you not want to go out of bed, not delays like your whole day. Say it's like at the weekend, you've got a lot to do at the weekend. Like you're getting up and you're laying in bed for that extra couple of hours to just not have to feel the cold. You're postponing that feeling. So if you've got this here just sticking on you and then that's you sweet, you don't have to worry about being cold. So we've thought that it's a good like route to go down, especially this time of year.
yeah, I'd 100% agree here. What actually made you both decide to team up together then? Why have you decided to cross paths like within that field?
Do you want to give an answer to that, Danny?
yeah, certainly. I think it was down to kind of we both like seeing the workload and we kind of realized that splitting the workload in half would be more effective. Kind of bringing two fresh minds to the table and trying to break down like say content ideas and say running ads and building out stores and stuff. Kind of because two minds is better than one. I mean, it means we get to see it from different points of view, and we can bring a unique mindset to the table. So I think that was kind of one of the major factors. I don't know about you, Cameron. What was kind of your reasons behind teaming up?
Definitely. Well, I do think Danny has a good mindset. Like he is motivated to just work. He's like the same as me. He doesn't want to work for someone else. Same as you, Jack. Actually, we're all the same here. It doesn't want to work for someone else. So when you find someone like that there, you need to kind of just surround yourself with more people like that. You know, so you've all got the same mindset and you're all working towards it. And sometimes when you bounce ideas off each other, you come up with a better idea. Do you know what I mean? And one thing will work. The more ideas, the better, because one thing will work.
Yeah, there was one thing that me and Danny were talking about in the last podcast about creating your own tribe and like having like minded people or aiming towards the same things and all wanting to accomplish the same thing. And
Yeah,
having like people who don't have the same ambitions and same goals, same dreams, or like similar anyway to that extent, that's not bringing you like any sense of value to your life. It's good to have people actually bringing something to the table and not just there just to be there. You
yeah,
know, for example, I don't know, we Michael down the street, like he just might want to see you just to go out in the weekend and drink and party, but you never see him since then. Like, no, I mean,
yeah. You don't
but
see anything more productive out of them.
100%. So it's good to have people who have the same ambitions, same dreams, or like similar anyway to that extent, that has the same like values as you, the same core values. And it means you can just all like bounce off each other and get better together, and you're not just doing it by yourself. So it's like building your own wee tribe. I would agree with that there. I think that's a very good decision you two have both made. And as Danny was saying, two minds are definitely better than one.
See, going just off what you said there, Jack, about about the tribe. It's kind of like when you do attract these like people, and you are like in working in tandem with these people. It's like it creates like a massive sense of accountability. You know what I mean? Because if you don't do the work, you're not letting yourself down. You're letting both people down, especially in like say when you're actually like teamed up the way me and Cameron are. And just talking about the tribe and stuff, and like say you don't do the work and you don't be accountable, you will like get outcast from the tribe because you're going to be letting people down ultimately, which offers a massive sense of motivation and also obviously discipline because people will keep you disciplined from a sense of accountability. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that. Like it's like we both have our own workload, and at the same time, we don't want to let anybody else down. Do you know what I mean? If we're both in it together, we'll push each other. And obviously, it is easier that we both live in the same house over here in Liverpool. It does make it a bit easier to try and come together and throw the ideas together, even sit down at times. Do you know what I mean? And just
Yeah,
dedicate. I think it's more dedicating time to just it's prioritizing what you do in your day
See,
as
going
well,
off,
though.
see, going off what you were just saying there now, about especially it's easier now that you're living in Liverpool with Danny. There's a
Mm.
question here that I wrote down. Do you feel like when you were growing up in Belfast, you like didn't really have the chance to, have time to work towards something like that there? Um, is there anything that like influenced you and was holding you back
Yeah,
when you were in
yeah,
Belfast?
I would say that in Belfast, it's like I did obviously enjoy growing up in Belfast. It was one of them ones. It's like small, you kind of know a lot of people, but it's like if you're thinking about going and doing something like we've done, like setting up this, you get a lot of like negativity towards going your own way. Some people don't understand it, and that's why they'll nearly tell you not to. Do you know what I mean? Like I was telling my mum about it there a couple of weeks ago, and she was just like, "Oh, like make sure it's not a scam," and I'm like, "But it's not a scam because I'm not buying anything. I'm not doing anything." She just doesn't understand it, which is why obviously that part of worry would be in it.
Do
That
you,
way, and I feel like it is a lot of negativity nearly back home.
I would actually 100% agree. Danny, would you agree with that as well? In the sense that like I feel like where we're from, people don't like to see you, stand out from the pack or like do something different.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's a lot of small mindedness. No, I mean it's kind of like a crab bucket as well. Basically with the crab bucket, kind of like the metaphor says about like when crabs are trying to give it a bucket, everyone else put all the other crabs pull them back down and not let them out. You know what I mean? So I think that is a massive sense. And like when people kind of go against the norm in like small towns or small cities, like that, everyone kind of looks at me like, oh, what are you doing? What gives you the right to do that? What makes you think like the act that like a sense of egoness comes in? No, I mean they're like, oh, what makes you better than me to do that when I can't do that? Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like that. So it is.
Yeah, I'd
I go,
100% agree. Here, comment. A
yeah.
question for you. So, are you glad then you moved to Liverpool, or
Do you
like,
know
do you
what,
think you've
mate?
made a
It has
mistake?
been the best decision I think I've made in my lifetime so far. Like
Serious?
initially at the start, lad, it was like I guess whenever I moved over, obviously I knew of like Danny, like the rest of the lads, whatever, but I wasn't like they weren't like my close mates, that way. So initially it was like, oh, I have to meet all these people, get used to them. So when I moved over, I think I took it bad for the first wee while. I was like, oh, like just not feeling it. But then I gave myself the October, went home in October, went home. I think it was for like 2 weeks or something, and it just dragged. And I was like, fuck, like I need to go back to Liverpool. And then that was like the turning point. Then from then on, I was just like, I'm going to enjoy myself, make the most of it. And I feel like yeah, it has. It's just I feel like for anybody that as well that are thinking about going to uni, like say moving out of the house, just do it. Like see the sense of freedom you have, even just living away from like your parents. Fair enough, it will be a bit harder because you have to like manage on your own, but you just get that sense of independence and just having to do stuff for yourself. You don't end up lying about at like 12 o'clock in the day. You have to cook your own meals. You do pick up these life valuable skills, like these valuable life skills, you know what I mean? But at the
100%.
same time, if you're going to uni, you're going to make the best friends, some of the best friends you like in your life, do you know what I mean?
So 100%. So you're saying anyone that watching, you think that if they are on the verge of thinking about going to uni and they're like 50-50 split, do you think they should go all in then and just
Oh
take
yeah,
it
just do
easy?
it.
Yeah,
Just do
100%.
it. See, unless there's a serious reason on why you shouldn't do it, just do it. Because you're at the end of the day, you're only holding yourself back. Like,
Do
and
you think? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, even if the uni thing doesn't work out, you're still gonna meet new people. Do you know what I mean? Like you will meet new people that have the similar interests in you. I feel like from school to uni, it's such a big jump because obviously in school you have such small groups, but then in uni, that maybe back in school, sorry, people that aren't interested in the same thing as you might get called out on it or whatever. But then you go to uni and you meet these thousands of people. Like you're constantly interacting with different people, and you get to meet that like you get to make your own group with people that you have the same interest in with. Do you know what I mean? I think it is
Yeah.
just important.
See from your experience with university, kind of like what you've learned and what you've done in uni, like in terms of actually like the theoretical work. Do you think a university degree is necessary, or do you think that say the fees are what 10 grand a year? 10 grand a year is
Yeah,
very excessive for what you actually get.
yeah. Um, I would say obviously at the end of the day, obviously because we're going down this route, it's more of a backup plan for me now. Do you know what I mean? It is more of a backup plan. It's just a bit more stability in case this doesn't work. So I would say going to uni and definitely getting a degree. It will help you get a decent paying job, but then it's whether you want to be working for someone again is the question. But do I think it's worth it, like the money and stuff? Like, I mean, there's been times like you go to lectures and it's just the tutors putting up a PowerPoint and talking about the words, like literally reading the PowerPoint word for word. And that's you have like 4 lectures in one day. That's you're spending your whole day just doing that. And it's just you're paying what 10 grand. You're going so far in debt just to look at slideshows that you can read yourself. And then there's online lectures as well, so you're not even there in person. And I feel like it's harder because you can't just wake up, log on, go back to sleep.
Yeah, here I'd 100% agree with everything you've just said there, in the sense that having a backup plan, and all the rest of it. But that's something that I used to always have a backup plan, in the sense that, you know, this is something I want to do, you know, PT and podcast, YouTube, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I was working a part time job in a warehouse, and I just didn't like it. I was drained every
Yeah,
day, 12-hour shifts. But then I ended up taking the leap to go my own way and just go all in and not have a plan B. And there was a book I was reading, it's right here, I'm about to read from it. The Darius CEO is I'm reading it there about, I think it was last week. And there was a wee quote in it, and it says, the first step before anyone else in the world believes it is that you gotta believe it. There's no reason to have a plan B because it distracts you from plan A. And when I read
yeah.
that there, and that was a month or two after I had quit my job, I was like, fuck, that's probably,
No,
like,
that's a good one. That like,
it gave me a wee bit of boost, you know, to actually
hmm
like think, oh, yo, I'm actually on the right path. I feel like, in the sense that, you know, I've gone on all in, like, and if it doesn't work out, what's the worst that can generally happen? Like, what, it doesn't work out,
yeah.
you can always go back to uni, go back to that job, you know. So I'm glad I've took that jump, and I'm glad that you have now, you know, have now took that from plan B to plan A, and then now the uni is more plan
You
B
need
for
plan
you
B.
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to just say there about like even going off that, my I would say my plan A and plan B have changed drastically, you know, in the past couple of days just because of that one sale. Like obviously you see a lot about dropshipping online and they make it look so easy. Like they make this look like the easiest way to make money. And I would say that it's not hard, like it's not that hard to set up a shop, but then there's always something you come into and it's just something's not working. You need to get more people on the store. You're struggling to make your first sale, then you have to make videos. I would say that making that first sale is really kind of put the doubt to the back of my head now. It's like, whoa, this actually does work. Do you know what I mean?
I
Like
had
I've proved it now.
100%. I had actually like similar things to what you were saying. Like, you had a bit of doubt because you haven't got your first sale, and there was all these like, you get one thing done and you're like, right, lethal, I've got it done, I'm ready to start making money, and then the next thing
Yeah.
comes up and you have to do another thing and another thing, and the list goes on. You're like, oh, for fuck, what am I
Yeah,
gonna
and
do here?
sometimes it can get overwhelming where there's a big list of things now you need to do just because you've done one thing, then it opens like 70 other doors, and then you're just like, it can be overwhelming just to the point where you're like, fuck this. Do you know what I
100%,
mean?
100%. Then but you just got to get to that point where, like,
You
you know,
have to just keep going.
Alex Ramosi talks about it. Me and Donnie have said this quote, talked about it those times. You know, the one where, like, you don't get, again, self confidence doesn't come from shouting affirmations in the mirror. It comes from having an undeniable stack of proof of being who you say you are.
Yeah.
But work yourself out, and, you know, the more times you work and you keep on working on that business, I guarantee right now your confidence has grown. And the fact that you've got your first sale, tell me about that. What is the momentum now that you've got from having that first sale?
So from the first sale, like we hadn't even ran ads at this point, but we're just doing, you know, just like I was just posting stupid videos, like just small like clips, whatever that I was getting, and they didn't do too great. But then I was just sitting and working and got this notification and was just like, oh, like this fella's just made an order. It was like £80 or something. I was like, no way, lad. And see the feeling, like I mean, I have butterflies. I was ringing my ma, I was ringing my girlfriend Taylor, I was ringing Danny. Danny wouldn't answer the phone to me. I was saying, going, Danny, Danny, you need the answer here. So,
That's like,
lad, I was just over the moon. Then I text you, obviously.
oh man, I was seeing like that message. You know, that whole day, that was the thing that, you know, I was sitting there doing a bit of work, and I'll be honest, yeah, I was on my lunch, and I was feeling a bit, you know, a wee bit like not demotivated, but I wasn't like in the zone as much as I could have been. Seeing that, I was like, right, he can do it. Why the fuck can I not do it?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
literally.
Also, there's a question that I was asking on this topic, right? So I've sent you about. There's always like one thing, like you feel like you're ready to get the sales, but then there's always another thing to do. Danny, have you
Yeah.
felt like you've found that too? In the sense, there's always something else that you need to do before you get to the next stage and stuff.
Uh, yeah, 100%. I think with the more time you put in it, like it's going to compound. When like the work you put in compounds, the problems that comes along with it compounds. Do you know what I mean? So I think, but it's like the way you were kind of talking about, like, you kind of get used to it, build your confidence. Jack, there's a theory. It's kind of a psychological theory. It's called the hedonic treadmill. And basically, what it kind of states is the hedonic treadmill is a psychological theory that suggests that humans have a tendency to return to a rel- relatively stable level of happiness or subjective well-being despite changes in the circumstances and their external conditions. So basically, what's kind of saying is like, when you operate at a certain level, when you get to a certain level, you're like, oh, I'm at the highest level here. You get used to that level. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of also like when you're striving for more. So I think that goes in the same, like when you're operating in the high level, these problems come along, but you kind of build a calluses to these problems and you get used to them, so you are able to operate at that level. Do you know what I mean? But I think that is just kind of a situation that comes with growth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. So with my experience, for anyone watching the audience, my experience, I think that was one of the most challenging things for me in the sense that like I thought I was ready for sales, but I need to keep doing stuff. Donnie and Cameron, do you both
Yeah,
feel like that was one of the most things you struggled with when starting an online business too?
you just want to make them sales. Is that what you were saying?
I like you were like you wanted to get the sales and you think you're ready to get them, but then there was something else that
Yeah,
came along. Do you feel like that was one of
definitely.
the biggest challenges you had when starting an online business?
Yeah, I would definitely say it was. Like, I'm in a group chat at the minute. It was like I thought, obviously, in my head that this store's fine. Like, I'm ready to start making sales. But then see when you ask for advice as well, you just get another list of things that like, oh, this isn't like professional. Like, you need to add this. Like, you need more views. You need more followers. And you're just like,
Mm.
like maybe I'm not ready to make sales. Like, do you know what I mean? And you do need to take a step back. So that's why as well, me and Donnie have then decided, you know what, we'll not put more money into it at the minute. We'll take a step back. We're just going to create a load of content. So we've got ideas.
Yeah.
We've written down about 40, 50 ideas here, a few pages worth of ideas. So we're going to start making some content here at the weekend. And main focus then, I think, for us would be to gain followers, really, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
make the page look a bit more detailed, professional. Just
Yeah,
build it that way.
I'd
100%.
go ahead, Donnie. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jack, because I'm gonna have something else after.
I was gonna say, so that's your plans for right now. But what's the plans with your driving store? What actually is the end goal? And do you see yourself branching into other avenues of business? Like
Go ahead,
once
Donnie.
you start to get to where you need to be?
Um, I'll go first, sure, Cameron.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I think I'm using the drop shipping as kind of a trampoline. Do you know what I mean? When I say that, I mean in the sense like, so with drop shipping, I want to be able to learn TikTok ads, Instagram ads, Facebook ads, SEO, and things like that, so I can ultimately gravitate more towards a marketing agency. Um, so along them lines, you know what I mean? Because I think yes, 100%. There's a very good money in drop shipping, you know what I mean? But up into a certain aspect. And I think kind of having a marketing agency in today's age is kind of you're writing your tickets. So that's something I'm probably going to gravitate towards. And then further, and then I have some other things that would probably look I would be interested to get into, to kind of just your standard investments like property and a few other things. You know what I mean? What about you, Cameron? What is it you kind
I
of?
would say the part that I enjoy the most about this project would be like getting the views and stuff and like bringing traction to the page. So I would say marketing, maybe digital marketing, like social media marketing. That's a good route to go down because it's always something that's needed by even businesses like myself. People look for people, like shortcuts. So people will want to just hire people to do it all for them. And there's money in that there as well, is like what I'm saying. And I feel like that's one avenue I would like to go down, really. And then just anything from there. We'll see what happens and see how we progress. But at the minute, I've just got short-term goals. I'm not really like on a couple of years from now, like what do you see yourself more of a day by day kind of fella. Do you know, I don't
Yeah,
really think that far ahead.
yeah.
I feel like that's
Cameron,
something
see
maybe I need to change.
the
Move on.
Cameron, see obviously we've been discussing your dropshipping store here for a short
Yeah,
while. See, for anyone listening who isn't familiar with the dropship model business model, what
yeah.
what actually is dropshipping?
So drop shipping is, so you obviously have your store, but you don't actually hold any of the products. Like you have a supplier. So once these orders come in or whatever, like you fulfill them. and then you fulfill them with a supplier, and basically they will do all the hard work for you. Like you're holding no stock, so you have um no
Yeah.
responsibility for having to sell out, or like you've no responsibility over the stock, because if you don't sell out, then you're still not losing money. Do you know what I mean? Because you're not buying the product that, like, to hold it and then ship it. So they have it. So I feel like that is a good reason why drop shipping is effective if you have a low start, if you're looking for something with a low startup cost. 'Cause it doesn't cost you much to get going.
Yeah, so you're acting as the middleman. You're kind of connecting the
Yeah, pretty much like a
supplier with the
middleman. Yeah,
consumer. Yeah.
yeah.
So why was it you picked dropshipping? Like what
So
kind of attracted you to that business model?
um, the low startup cost, definitely. The fact that um you don't actually have to have all the stock either. Like, see, just being able to not have to manage everything. Like, it is very like there's not a you don't there's not much to do at like the start. So like basically the start of it, it gave me enough time to just do that on the side and then balance the rest of my life. So I was like, sweet, like I'll start this here, give it a go. And then obviously you came to me with that, your man, I can't remember his name now, but that he done the free course, and basically that was good information. Like that was good information to get started, and especially for it being free as well, because uh you go online now and all you see is people charging fucking 1,500 for these mentorships, and it's not worth it. Obviously at this stage where you're just if you're a student especially and you're looking to start.
Was it the guy with
Yeah.
the long black hair? Is it? No, like the on YouTube? No.
Yes,
What's he called?
Yeah,
Sebastian,
Sebastian
yeah,
Sebastian.
Gergo, or I can't pronounce his
yeah,
second name.
I,
yeah,
I know you're on about. I've actually got a question for you because I'm actually really intrigued with this because it's not something that I currently do, and I'm sure the audience will be intrigued. But
yeah.
what is the biggest thing you've learned on the journey so far of dropshipping?
Biggest, um, God, don't know if there is like a biggest thing to be fair, like,
What was
but I
the
would
Well,
say,
main thing then?
go. Do you want to go ahead, Danny?
no, I was just going to kind of like say about your point. You've already kind of spoke about it, but kind of rushing the process and rushing straight to the sales. I think one of the things that I've learned personally would be like, first you got to build the foundations. Know what I mean? A house can't lie upon unstable ground. Know what I mean? So kind of building the
Mm-hmm.
foundations of putting all the right systems in place and not rush into the process. Know what I mean? Enjoy the journey, but take it slow and steady. Know what I mean? Because ultimately you're trying to build it for longevity opposed to just a quick short term
Yeah, quick fix.
stay. Yeah, a quick fix. Know what I mean? Financially, so you want to kind of build it for the like obviously not completely for long term, like say 10, 20 years, but like you want to build it so it lasts a period of like a few months to a
But
year.
let me add to that. So, Danny, do you think that obviously we kind of just threw ourselves into it with like putting money into it, but do you think that was a better way for us to learn about it than what maybe watching a few extra videos would have done?
Oh yeah,
Because you're putting yourself in that situation, you're seeing the results, you're seeing the outcome.
Skin in the game.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, kind of just watching videos and consuming content on the subject is kind of just mental masturbation. I mean, the best way to learn, what I find personally, and you kind of spoke about before earlier, is kind of just throwing yourself in the deep end. I mean, you're not going to let yourself drown. So, yeah, I think that is
yeah.
the best thing to do.
It,
That's one of the biggest things I struggle with too. When I started my online business too, was the fact that I was watching all these videos. I hired a mentor. I still have him now, but I was watching all the videos he was giving me out, and I was like, "This information is class." It took me 3 months to even apply any of it because I was too busy watching and thinking, "Oh, I know all this," but realistically, I wasn't playing any of it, so I don't know any of it. And that's it goes
yeah,
back to that quote I was talking about. I've said it about 1,000 times in the last podcast too. But knowledge doesn't equal power, but applied knowledge does. So yeah, that's where that quote comes from.
but I,
Yeah.
I do feel like everybody is different, but for myself as well, see if you see doing something and then learning from it, whether it works or whether it fails, like it is better than just sitting and reading about it all and reading about it all, because the longer you take to learn about it all, you may miss your chance, like, do you know what I mean? Whereas if you throw yourself in at it, you're seeing the outcome, you're seeing like the reaction to what you're doing, so you can learn off that. I feel like that's just an easier way of doing things.
Why do you kind of think that people like say who are working towards these type of goals, like for the audience listening, we kind of talked about in the last podcast about procrastination. Why do you think people do procrastinate so much? Is it out of like a sense of fear or
I
a
would say
fear
it's
of
fear and
failing?
doubt.
Mm,
Doubt, I would say, is one of them. Like, you hold back, say, like, you're going to do something, and you have a doubt that obviously, like, it's too good to be true, say. But like, some things aren't always too good to be true. Like, you only half-arse it then because you're doubting yourself. You don't want to go all in because you don't want to lose. You don't want to risk. It's a lack of risk taking as well. You don't want to risk losing more to gain more. You want to just risk a wee bit to see if it works. If it doesn't work though, do you know what I mean?
yeah.
You need to go. You need to be all in for a lot of things, and I feel like this is one of them.
See the with the doubt aspect. Do you think it's doubt from yourself, obviously, but do you think like peers in the sense that like if I fail this year, what's my friends gonna say, or like what are these people gonna say about me? Is that something that comes into play at all?
I would say your environment is a big thing. Like, what is around, who is around you, and like the people you surround yourself obviously with will put extra doubt in your mind. Like, if they're because people some if you surround yourself with people that are just satisfied working all the time, like they'll be like, oh, like, nah, just you're not gonna make money off that. Do you know what I mean? They'll put you down. They'll tell you all the negatives and why you shouldn't do it. But
But what
in
about all
hindsight,
things
like,
that
you just need
yeah.
to. It is. I would say though that doubt, and it can't be self doubt as well though. Like, believing that you're not good enough, or that, like, it's not gonna happen to you. But you'll never know unless you try. Do you know what I mean?
That's mad. I mean,
I want to ask you a question, Jack.
go ahead.
Obviously, whenever you're doing all your videos at the minute, on your fitness page, it's just obviously me and Danny are going to start doing the ads. And one thing that I have in my head that I would say I fear a wee bit is people's opinions sometimes, like that, like having like doubts in my head, like, oh, like, what are people going to say? And obviously, like, videos, just say it's a stupid video or something. It's like, it's just that fear of being like on the camera nearly as well,
That's
putting it
hands
out
down.
there.
That's hands down probably one of the hardest things to overcome. But see, once you start doing it, the more you're like, fuck, who even cares? Like, who asks?
Yeah,
Jamie, you're just like, you know what? We Michael down the street may be stabbing about me making a video, but what's he doing, mate? He's working
I
a nine
know.
to five
Yeah,
job, not even trying to do anything. He has all these dreams, but he's not trying to do anything because of what his mates might say. They aren't his mates,
yeah,
but he doesn't know that yet. No, I mean, so
yeah,
I feel like the biggest thing I would say to you to take away from this would be, you know, you're not going to be unbelievable on camera initially. I'm not unbelievable still, but I feel like the more you do it, it's like anything. The more you do, the better you're going to get it. But to overcome that fear, the only way of overcome that fear is by taking the action by actually doing it. And you'll soon realize over the course, maybe the first few weeks, you may have some people texting you like, "Oh, what's he doing?" Or you may be thinking, "Oh, fair play to you, him. He's doing this here, he's doing that." See now, I
yeah,
think I'm now about a couple months in to my journey, and now no one really texts me, "Oh, what's he doing?" or this and that and this and that. And here, another thing as well, you will get hate on some of the videos. You might get
yeah,
a comment saying, what the fuck? Any hate, any publicity is good publicity. I had a video there
yeah,
on TikTok there last or this week I think it was, got 3,000 views, which is very good. Like for me, every comment was negative. It was like, "What's he doing? Why are you shooting? Don't shoot at me!" and all blah. You know what my reply is every time. I asked them a question back so that they reply again to create more engagement. So if
yeah. More engagement. That's
yeah, any publicity is good publicity. So my advice would be just literally the only way of doing it is outwork the self doubt and just go for it.
yeah.
Jack,
Oh
do
no.
you, Jack, do you remember that TikTok we put up? It was one of on our podcasts. We were asking like, oh, if you could go back and like say, to your younger self. No, if you go back to your younger self, give your younger bit of self a bit of advice. What would it be? Someone commented on that. Don't start a podcast, lad. I started pissing myself. I started pissing myself laughing at it.
Here you don't
That was
else do
brilliant.
like like it's
See,
mad.
for it was a belter, like.
Okay, but like I was gonna say, going off that thing you were just saying there, I actually have it was a question for it was actually a question for Cameron that was similar to that. And it was just basically a saying that exact question was if you had to give advice to your younger self, what would it be?
I feel like it would be just to not care so much about what people think. Like,
I
it
th-
is just to have confidence in yourself, have belief. Just if you want to do something, you do it. Like, do what you want to do for you. Don't be and the fear of, like, there's been a lot of times obviously over here where you're going out all the time, but you don't want to. And it's like, if you don't want to, just say no. Do you know what I mean? Don't be someone that just says yes and goes and does what other people think and leave yourself in a worse position. just for the sake of someone else. Like, don't do it.
Yeah, don't be the sheep, be the foot on
Yeah,
lamb.
you're your own main priority at the end of the day.
100%. And you know what's actually mad to think, right? You've just said if you had to give yourself advice when you were younger, you said
Yeah,
that you what do you call it? You would what did you say
not
again?
worry
Sorry.
about what other
Oh
people
yes,
think.
yes. Not worry about Hank, right? It's mad how we all have the very common or aspects on that in the sense that
Yeah,
I thought the exact same. Danny also said the exact same on our podcast, and so did you. So it's mad. That must be a thing that loads of people, even the audience are watching. I'm sure you feel like this too. That must be a sensitive thing that we all feel like. We all feel like, well, have a bit of self. What if he says this? What if she says that? We all
where
have
did
that.
where would you
You know?
say that stems from though? Like,
Yeah, I don't.
where does that come into it all? Like,
That's
'cause
a
obviously
great.
when you were younger you didn't care, but now like going through secondary school and whatever, it's obviously gets a big thing, and then I feel like once you go to uni it does disappear a wee bit, but it's just like
I
that middle period.
I think it comes from a few major factors. To be fair, obviously growing up in like say a small town or a small city where a lot of people know each other,
Yeah,
something that's further heightened in today's age would be social media. Everyone trying to portray a false lifestyle on social media and seem better than they actually are. And the third thing was kind of what was it? I had it in my head 2 seconds ago. Being outcast from the tribe, do you know what I mean? Because everyone's portraying this certain image, kind of both verbally and on social media. I think a lot of people are afraid to be outcast from the tribe because obviously I speak about this in almost every episode because it's a topic we speak about a lot. Um, Back in like primal times, being outcast from the tribe meant death. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
in today's age, we still have this built into our brain, our primal brain, that being outcast from the tribe means death, but it doesn't. You know what I mean? So I think kind of realizing, as you say, when you go to university and you grow up wee bit, like you kind of realize no one actually cares. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I
no
don't.
one cares. Like,
Everyone's too self absorbed in order to care about what you're doing or Jack's doing or what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? So kind of in that
yeah,
sense. So for anyone listening, kind of being like, I think the sooner you kind of wake up and realize that no one actually gives a bollocks about your life, lad, the quicker you're going to be able to succeed and win.
one
Oh,
thing that I would say has helped me, like one way of thinking about stuff like that, is like, say it doesn't happen to you, like say someone like trips and falls or something, like say you're walking through a town and someone trips up, like you'd be scunnered if it was you, and you'd be like, oh, like people are seeing me and all, people are watching me doing that and all, and then but then if you see someone else doing that, you forget about it fucking what, 5 seconds later.
Yeah.
I mean,
What was
people
what
don't continuously think about that shit, like.
what was one of our mates saying? One of our mates was saying when he was like 15 or 16, lad, he like got knocked down by a car or something. He was too scundered to like I think he was actually proper like he was hurt like and he was too scundered like ring an ambulance or ring the cops, so he ran home, lad, like with a lip and all, and like he didn't end up getting a claim or nothing because he was too scundered, lad.
Oh, it's bad that, like.
that's mental. Yeah, here I want to ask. It's a bit off topic, but me and Danny talk about goals a lot. So we do Cameron.
Okay.
Um, Now today is the 11th of November, 2023. I know you're a guy that you said there you like setting wee small milestones and never any big ones like ahead.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot here up. I'm gonna put you on the spot and say so we can clip this in a year's time on the 11th of November 2023. What where do you see yourself 1 year from now, financially, life wise, etc.? Where do you see yourself?
I see myself mate, a year from now. So definitely not working for someone else. Like I'm doing this all on my own. Would say location wise, if things go as well as I hope for it to go, uh,
When it does.
when it does, yeah, when it does, not hopefully, when it does, I won't be. I can't see myself being in uni, like because a year from now it'll be my third year, so I'm hoping maybe when before that it'll be like I'll be underway, and then I'm just like right, okay, I can take a year out from uni. I want to travel, and then obviously it's making money on the internet, so it's like I can do it from anywhere. Do you know what I mean? I'll go travel a bit and just enjoy myself, to enjoy while I still can, like doing that way.
Yeah, any
I feel like that is the main
aspirations?
goal.
Any aspirations with the dropshipping 1 year from now, like money wise or sales wise and stuff?
Um,
How much
I'll
sales would
be
you like?
sales. I would say profit wise, I'll be looking to be earning at by that stage about 10,000 to 20,000 a month. I feel like that's an achievable goal.
I like it. I like it.
You know what I mean? That's a good target, I think.
Be specific, lads. Smart goals.
Yeah, smart
I
goals.
tell you what,
Keep
we
it.
are definitely clipping up for this time next year. And just
Yeah,
if you're not there, then we're gonna be disappointed in you. Like, and if you are there, then fucking, you said you're gonna do it, and guess what happened?
I fucking done it.
Yep.
And we're
So
all gonna be there, lads.
100%. Here, Cameron.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So just going off the back of Jack's question there, right? Are we bit like further down the line? Say five. I'm gonna ask you two. Gonna break the question down into two parts, right? So
Okay.
say if and say what do you reckon in terms of success? What do you want your life to look like in 5 years and also 10 years? Obviously, start with the 5 years, but what would you like? What would you want to be doing? What would you want to be like? Where would you want to be? Like, describe a perfect situation that you would say from this day, the 11th of November, and what year would that be? 2028. What would you be doing that day?
What would I be doing that day? Well,
It's a it's a day off,
I
of course, obviously.
so I'm picturing myself sitting in Old Trafford in a box. All the drinks are flowing, all the boys are there, and United go on to win the match. It's unheard of at the minute, like, but United will win. But it's my own personal box. That's my goal. Everybody's suited and booted, executive suite. Everybody's having a nice meal, having a few drinks. That's my dream. Like, that's
Sick.
my goal.
that would be
That's
sick. Like,
sick.
And then
we're all right.
that's what the main goal is. And Danny, obviously, I've spoke to you about that before. Like, it's like that is the dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we should go a wee bit off topic in the sense that rap. We are people,
Okay.
or we well, I would say
Are you in person?
We are people.
I would say 90%, 90%, maybe even more than 90% of people like to drink. Well, maybe less. Not be fair. Like to drink often, right? Why do you think
Yeah.
alcohol is illegal, but drugs or other drugs aren't?
That's a good question, to be honest.
Go
So I
ahead.
feel like that
Go ahead. One of
it
you
would
go.
do more harm. I feel like alcohol does a lot more harm sometimes in some cases than other drugs. Like if you think about it, like alcohol acts as like a I can't even think of the word right now, but like
Depressant.
no, not even that there. I mean, like if you're thinking about like the likes of cocaine or something, you drink
Yeah.
alcohol and then that makes you be like, oh, like I want to get a bag. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like I can't even think of the word at all. Like activates it or it's like that there. But I feel like that it's like
It's an
it's
instant.
hard. I feel like go ahead.
It's like an instant dopamine hit. Do you mean?
I mean, like no, like in the sense that it leads to worse things. I feel like obviously the drugs like cocaine and all that there are still
Oh,
like
it's
are
it's
like
a
they're
gateway.
legal for a gateway. Yeah, like alcohol, it leads on to that. Like if you, because like I've saying like if you go out or something and you're like there's people that are out there that are like oh have a few drinks and they're like oh like let's ring up the dealer or whatever we'll get stuff sorted. It's like I feel like alcohol is one of the worst ones as well. To be fair, at the end of the day.
I think it's mad that that culture is so normalized in our society as
Yeah,
well.
it
Do you know
is.
what I
It's
mean?
so normalized.
Well, especially when university is obviously a lot more prominent than it would be back home, but obviously back home it is there. Um, I think alcohol is still legal though because like it's so ingrained in our society. You know what I mean? It's like Irish and British culture is the whole culture is surrounded about consuming beers and just
Alcohol.
going to the pub with your mates and all. And I also think one of the other major factors it's not illegal is because the amount of tax that the government actually get off alcohol. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think like if you were to like kind of ban alcohol, some of the biggest companies, the biggest organizations in the world would close down tomorrow. But it's kind of like going off another topic what we kind of have written down here. It's basically like with we'll talk about it after. Go, Jack. I want to hear you first.
Oh, my thoughts on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thoughts on alcohol.
Thoughts
Because we all
on
know you're a heavy drinker.
I did. The reason why I think that it's so normal nowadays is because, as Danny was saying, like everyone does it, and it's like passed up through generations, etc. But I feel like now it's got to a point now where like, say I wasn't to go out in the weekend, my mates would ask me why is he not drinking or why is he not going? It's like a thing that's like, whoa, what the hell? Why? It's like a big
Yeah,
thing, It's like a big thing. Like, why are you not doing it? And I think it's because everyone's got it. Like, it's like a thing where, like, I wear Nike, I wear all these. high value brands that people think are high value, so everyone copies each other. It's the same with drink.
Yeah.
I think everyone feels like, right, everyone's going to drink, so why shouldn't I? Why am I not going?
I feel
I
like
think
it's
yeah,
that thing too, like FOMO, like the fear of missing out as well, is a
what
big
happened?
thing. Like you see your friends socializing, going out, and you're like, oh, like what if something happens, like, and I miss it. I feel like that's a
Yeah,
big thing in today's culture. Like,
I think that's probably the biggest one, to be honest, because I felt like
yeah,
I struggled with that a lot growing up, in the sense that I didn't really want to drink, but I was drinking just because everyone else was, because I didn't want to miss out.
yeah,
And now I'm like, oh right, here, you know what? I'm actually not missing anything out. Not
yeah.
missing anything.
You do realize that before as you get older, it's just the same thing every night out. Like that's one thing I've realized a lot being over in Liverpool, Danny. I'm sure you're the same. It's like every night out is the same. Like you're out drinking, spend a fortune, come home blocked, and then you continue drinking, and you wake up and you're down. You spend money on stupid food. You and you're down for a few days. Like you don't go to the gym. Like it just sets you back right away, and it's all what because you have the fear of missing out on something that's going to happen next week as well.
yeah, 100%. As the FOMO is kind of just what like a lot of the topics we've spoke about in this podcast is about social credibility, isn't it? Really, it's kind of being like fear of being left out or fear of being kicked out of the tribe. You know what I mean? So it's kind of
Yeah,
because everyone else is doing it, you have to do it. But
you have to.
it's weird because what we kind of talk about with kind of like setting up online business and stuff, it is going against the norm. But in like say other avenues like that, we kind of are not reinforced the point that we don't care about going against the norm. You know what I mean? In the likes of drinking and stuff. So it's a strange one. Do you know what I mean?
Do we think it's
Yeah.
do we think it's going against the norm, in the sense that, like, against, maybe England and, like, Ireland, us, but, like, do you think other countries, is it against the norm, do you think, still? I
No,
would.
because kind of are you on about drinking alcohol? Yeah.
uh Drinking alcohol and then just starting an online business, I feel like, yes, it's out of the norm everywhere in the world, but I think it's more, maybe that's just because we're from there. I have a, biased opinion, but I feel like, England and, like, Ireland stuff, they even have an even more overindulgence of, like, why is he doing that and stuff, and why is he starting an online business. I think it's more normal in other countries, but I'm not saying it is normal, but it's more normal.
Yeah.
It's more accepted,
I would.
so socially accepted, I feel like.
Mm,
Yeah, I completely agree. Like in the likes of say America, like
yeah, I was thinking America there as well whenever you said
no, I
that.
mean like all majority of the YouTubers that are in say like the dropshipping niche are under the age of say 25. Would you agree, Cameron?
Yeah, yeah, no, I would agree with that. Like, yeah, and they're all in America as well.
Yeah,
That's where they all
I,
start. Like, that's just then you kind of follow that as well. Those who, because America are one of the biggest trendsetters as well. And if you think about it, like looking at movies and all, for example, like American movies, drinking and socializing is a big thing in them as well. Like, and a lot of movies that are popular. So
yeah.
obviously, because they're like one of the biggest trendsetters. So then obviously that comes over to like us, and it's like, oh, like we'll do this, like parties, like big parties, house parties, all that there.
Chad Hogan's
Yeah,
booked a
just
band,
going to
lad.
Chad's party.
Chad Hogan's booked a band. Here another massive problem, Cameron. Obviously
Uh,
with young men, it's gambling. What is your opinions on
uh,
online gambling, lad? I,
uh,
just like obviously, I know you working at bookies and things. So, how big do you think the problem is within young men and kind of the younger generation? Well, just men in general.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say, like young men. It's like I had a fella like see them at the times you have people in and they're just like there was an incident there the other day and this fella came up to me and he was just constantly putting like he was tapping his card and was like, oh, £300, can I have that? And like, do you know the slot machines? And it's just like, and like you have to like interact with them as well to do it too much because there's like regulations then. Do you know what I mean? Like compliance and stuff. So it's like he comes up now and he's sitting going, "Oh, can I have 300 and not 300 and not 300 and not?" No, I'm saying, "Well, not are you sure? Like it's you spent a lot now." And then I told him it spent like 1.2 grand in an hour, you know, just on this machine, not winning any money
What?
back, lad. And he was there then for a good few hours after that, and it was like he came up to me and he was like, "Oh, like you know, I'm going through a divorce and all because I'm a gambler and all." I'm sitting going, "But like, lad, this has obviously ruined your life. Why are you still in here doing all
if
this? Like,
if nothing changes, nothing changes. And
no,
you know what annoys me most about that story, and like, people spend all this money on gambling. People say they don't have money to eat healthy. They don't have money to
yeah,
invest in a mentor to make more money. They don't have money to go to the gym and buy a gym membership. They don't have this. They don't have that. But yet, look at the things they're actually wasting their money on.
hmm
Oh, that car they can't even afford. Oh, that gambling.
yeah,
Look how much things you're actually wasting your money on. If you actually look at it, I guarantee right now you could save probably maybe even hundreds of pounds a month, you know, of
Yeah,
just
that
stuff
definitely.
you're wasting money on. So yeah, I think it's a big
I
problem in
th-
today's society. But I feel like the reason why people are doing that is because they feel like they're not going to make enough money to be able to, you know,
But
I
escape
think
I would
the
like to
system.
add that see even for people like that don't have that much money, they're always looking for like the wee prize draws like to get them more money quickly. They're looking for like this wee bet it'll get me money quickly, but they don't realize that they're spending like say £5 every day to try and
yeah
win this £200, so they're actually still in a loss and they don't realize that though. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like that
yeah
is because of the lack of confidence to go and invest it, or the lack of knowledge even to go and invest it in other things that will make them money over the long term. They're thinking short term fix, this is what I need to do,
yeah.
and it doesn't work.
S- See, kind of going off your point, Jack. There, I get your point, what you're saying, but I think you gotta look at gambling like any other addiction. Know what I mean? Like, would you say to like a heroin addict, oh, stop spending your money on heroin and go and eat healthy food? You know what I mean? Gambling is addiction at the end of the day. I think gambling sells the drug of hope. The reason what you said, what both of you were saying there about like, oh, I can make money if I stick this bet on. I think it's like hope. You know what I mean? So you're being like,
Yeah,
oh, I am going to make money, but also on the other flip side of that is like you get like a dopamine hit when you stick a bat on. They get an adrenaline rush. Like people get addicted to that feeling. I think it's like kind of it's not right to look over the fact that it is an addiction at the end of the day. No, I mean it's like being addicted to cocaine or being addicted to any other alcohol or whatever it may be. So you gotta look kind of look at it from that standpoint. But I think the way to tackle like the issue of gambling like young men is kind of the best way to do anything is education. In terms of being of going like say into schools. I remember when I was in school, there was a boy called he used to play for Armagh when they got the Ireland final. Older
you're
boy.
mad, Arma.
What was his name? I think it was Oisin McConville, and he ended up getting really badly addicted to gambling. Ended up spending over like the course of like say 5 years or something, whatever it may be. I don't know the story in full detail. Like 30 or 40 grand on gambling. Like no more probably. It's probably like 70 or 80 grand on gambling. But like so, I think it's got to be treated as an actual addiction. And there's ways to like beat those addictions. Do you know what I mean? But I think the best way to do it is through education. You know what I mean? Since like he came into my school, like I don't gamble. I've never really gambled. Maybe I bought a scratch card and I had like an extra pound once or twice. But like I think the best way to achieve and kind of combat the problem, this massive issue with gambling, is through education. But obviously regulation as well. So Cameron, obviously you work in a betting shop. What kind of
Yeah,
like what do you
Yeah,
think would be the most appropriate technique?
before you use what do you call it, like say it there, just going with what I was saying there. I don't mean it in the sense like, you know, it's not as easy as the way I was saying it there. Like it's not as easy as just, you know, stop doing this and go do that. You know, there's ways of doing it, and also I also feel like it's, you know, I'm not saying the completely eliminate it, because it is good to have a wee bit of, you know, fun in the sense of like having a wee bit, you know,
yeah,
it's good to have a wee bit of fun. I'm just saying to the extent where it's like harming you, as where, as Danny was saying, education needs to come into play to, you know, not harm you, and more as a fun aspect and not just a way of like, you know, can maybe even ruin your life kind of thing. So yeah,
yeah.
no, just to clarify that.
Yeah, 100%.
Well,
You gotta weigh up the risk and reward.
Yeah.
yeah, and from like working in the bookies, obviously it's like there are things in place, to help people like that. But it's whether or not they want to be helped as well. Like, because they get the option obviously to be like self-excluded. So then once they fill out this form, that then they can't go to like our shop. They can't come in. If they come in, we have to kick them out. And like if and it goes up on like our like portal website, so then like other shops can see it as well. I'll be like, oh, he's not allowed in because of his problem. And I feel like that does help, but is it real? I don't really think it's that effective, because you look at the amount of gambling shops whenever you're walking through the town in Liverpool. Like there's
Yeah,
different ones. There's Ladbrokes, there's David Plucks, there's William Hill, Paddy Power, Baffred. Like the list goes on, and they're all over the town. Like that'll not stop someone. Like fair enough, being self-excluded from one shop will not stop them from going to another or doing it
yeah,
online. Do you know what I mean? There's always something else. Will always find the next way to try and do that.
yeah,
You need to want to stop. You need to have a reason to stop, and you need to want to stop.
yeah. See. I don't know if any have any of you ever watched Boys in the Hood.
Yeah,
Do you ever
yeah,
get this? Do you ever get the scene where his dad is at the redevelopment centre and he's talking about, oh, do you see what to do with these areas, these deprived areas? It's the same reason we have like a liquor store, obviously like an off license on every corner. It's the same reason we have a gun store in every corner. It's the same reason we have a betting shop in every corner. Do you know what I mean? I think like the whole system is played into this. fact, like in these deprived areas, obviously, like Liverpool is a deprived city, so is
Yeah.
Belfast. No, I mean, I think they know they put it this in the deprived areas, like these types of behaviors and enforcement in these areas because people want a sense of escape. Do you know what I mean? It's the same reason there's a barn on every corner in deprived areas as well, because people want a sense of escape out of their daily misery in the bed. That's where they're going to make the most money, and that's why they set up in these areas.
Comes down to marketing, doesn't it?
Exactly, like, do you know what I mean? Say you go to Malone Road, like in Belfast, or you say you go to Kensington in London, like, or like all the poshest areas,
And
you
not the
won't
one over here.
not the one in Liverpool, lad. Definitely not. But
Definitely not like
it's the reason you when you go to these areas, you will not see an off license on every corner or a betting shop or a pub. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like it makes you think like the whole system's set up in a certain way to
It's,
like
yeah,
to make people with them problems. Like it makes it so hard for them to get out of that problems when they're constantly surrounded by this environment.
it's their triggers.
I 100%
Just like
agree.
that
It's
from the
like
biggest habits.
here, it's like that saying, what you permit, you promote, and they're permitting like fuck. So it's promoting it. So yeah, that's literally what's happening. Like it's what you permit, you
Yeah.
promote. Anyway, here I think we're gonna get to the point where we're actually done the podcast. But Cameron, I don't know if you've a quote of the day, but I'm gonna ask Danny first, so I can give you time to go get a quote of the day in case you don't have one yet. So
Okay.
Danny, have you got a quote of the day for us?
Yeah,
So
I
what is your quote of the day, Danny?
right. I'll get all serious so we can clip it. Right.
uh,
My quote of
Shit.
the my quote of the day is
Straight start. Start. Go again.
right, okay,
right, start. Go ahead, mate.
right. My quote of the day is: success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And that's my quote of the day.
Love it.
Brilliant.
Right, Jack, I had to get all dramatic for it as well, lad, know what I mean?
Right. Cool. Right. He's ready for this one? Hold on. Right. My quote of the day is: clarity builds conviction. Without clarity, you can't build conviction. Have clarity and you will build conviction. Simple. That is my quote of the day. So, Cameron, you're next up on the agenda. What
Next
is
up,
your quote of the day? Let's get serious. Come on, go. Let's see it.
We're clipping this.
we're clipping this one.
3 easy clips.
Saw this one actually on TikTok here, so I'll go for this one. It's a short quote, so it's just let people talk about you, let people doubt you, prove them wrong, be the one that makes a difference.
Love it.
Sick. Love it.
Right. Now, Danny, we're going to get in the aspect that you actually brought into play. Danny, what is the aspect of, you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Biggest win and biggest challenge of the week. My biggest win of the week would probably be kind of what I talked about in the last episode, completely getting out of that the rut that I've been in. No, I mean, I've been a lot more productive this week. I've gotten through a lot of uni work. Need to get back to the gym this week though. I've been slacking on the gym. I'll be transparent with everyone listening. I need to get back to the gym, but my biggest challenge of the week would probably be my time management. My time management hasn't been as effective as it should be, to be fair, when I have a to-do list the size of the River Nile here. So yeah, that's probably my biggest challenge.
So, Danny, what is your biggest win of the week?
I said my biggest win. I was getting out of that rut, and
Get another route. Yeah.
yeah, I said both first. Sorry.
My bad. Right.
It is your bad.
That's it.
I'll go next. Danny, go ahead. You ask me.
Jack Cornelius Gray, what is your biggest win and your biggest challenge of the week, sir?
My biggest win of the week is actually something that Danny's struggling with, and it's actually 5 times the gym and 5 times cardio this week. Actually, to be honest, my biggest win is that I went to boxing for the first time in about 2 years, 4 times this week, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. To be honest, it's a struggle, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. So, my biggest struggle of the week would be getting work done, but not good work done. In the sense that I would show up and getting work done, but I feel like it's like lazy work. Like I'm doing it, but it's not. I'm not looking at key stuff as I would have went before I went to Halloween. before Halloween there, I felt like I was looking at every single detail. Now I'm doing the work, but I'm not putting them extra wee bits and them extra wee bits to make a difference. So that's something that I definitely need to work on. So Cameron, what is your biggest challenge of the week and your biggest win of the week?
So we'll start off with the biggest win, obviously. First sale.
Whoa!
First sale on the store. Hey,
Yeah!
Lads, get the claps in.
more to come, more to come. But and I would say from that, my biggest challenge has obviously then been to get more from that. Do you know what I mean? Like from doing the ads, there's just been more challenges with faced.
Yep.
So but it's a good challenge. It's an enjoyable challenge. It's something to
Learning
learn
curve.
off. Yeah, it is. It's brilliant. I love it.
I like that for anyone watching. Look what he just said there. He said at a challenge, but he likes the challenge. You know, he likes he has challenges. Without challenges, we can't get better, can't grow.
Yeah.
So I really like that point you had there. From that,
Thanks, mate.
I think we're getting ready to wrap it up, Daniel. So Danny, have you got anything to say to the audience before we leave it?
No, just kind of basically what I usually say. Obviously our support's been growing. No, I mean, thank you all so much for listening. The support's been absolutely amazing. No, I mean, our TikTok clips and our Instagram reels are starting to grow, which is absolutely amazing. So thank you all so much for the support. Please, if you're listening the whole way through the video, please like and subscribe to the channel as well.
Here as well, Danny. I noticed I was a new subscriber though last night on YouTube. Came up my notifications there, which is good. As well, before we go, as well, guys, thank you very much for the support. It generally does help us massively with our journey and our process that we're trying to create with this this business, which it is technically a business, but really a business for us. Anyway, as well, we're now sitting on 92 followers, and last time we were on 89 when I filmed the last podcast. So we're now 8 followers away on Instagram from 100. Guys, if you could really go and do that, we would really appreciate it. Go and follow the page. Same with subscribing here and Instagram. As well, Cameron, mate, thank you very much for coming on.
Hello, thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Appreciate the invite.
It has been a pleasure. Have you anything to add before we let it go?
Obviously, just thank you both for letting me on the podcast today. And it's obviously
Thank you.
I was nervous, but now I've enjoyed myself a lot. So appreciate that, lads, and you're doing a great job. So just keep it up.
See, to be fair, see for your first podcast, lad, you were absolutely insane. To be fair, lad,
Yeah,
great performance.
love that.
It helps because we all know each other and sounds like
Yeah, as well.
Uh,
I was in my own head at the start. I was like, but then I literally know both of you boys. Like, these are my mates, so it's not that bad. Like,
you know what?
it's a random fucking interview or whatever.
I think me and Danny have talked about this in every podcast so far, but it is generally the more reps you get done or the more times you do something, the better you get at it, and the less. Like, I guarantee from the very start, first minute of this podcast to the very end, the confidence you've grown in the sense of the talking.
Yeah, no, it's just
it's
I think it easier. Like,
it's mental.
yeah.
It's just like anything. The more you do, but
it's just getting used to being on the screen, like, on it.
100%. It's a repetition game, innit?
Exactly, it is.
And
Get them reps in.
Exactly. And as Danny said last week on the podcast, I think it was consistency is the game or something. Consistency actually is the game. He's talking about
Yeah. But here, everyone, thank you all so much for listening. Please drop us a follow, like the video. Today is the day podcast. Over and out.